Women are so fucking cool.
Welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a fun episode. I talked to one of my good friends, Anne Borow-Lawrence, and we just had a really good time just talking and discussing, and so kind of felt like we were just on a regular call. So just enjoy the conversation that we had. And I'm also just really grateful again for all the women who've already been a guest on the podcast. Just really so special. And I want to put a shout out to anybody who's listening to this. If you're interested in being on the podcast, please reach out to me, comment, go to the website. If you know of a woman who you think is a fucking cool woman, please invite her. I'm going to include the link to the form to sign up to be on the podcast. Remember, this is also going to be, it's turning into a documentary. I'm still in the process of like, just processing and workshopping and kind of creatively brainstorming, thinking about what this project is going to turn into. So just it's kind of a work in progress, creative process. So I really do appreciate partaking partaking in this with me. So it's just this is just a place for me to just continue to you know celebrate and bring in that power of amazing fucking cool woman power because we just we just need it and we are it and we have as we continue to move forward in life, uh, this is it. This is our time. So it's always been our time. And so if it is our time, then let's do it. So yeah, so listen to these podcasts, um, share, this with your friends and check out the website, fcwsociety.com and follow and like. So here's Anne, a fucking cool woman. Oh, I'm really happy once again to talk to yet another FCW. Fucking cool women. We are everywhere. And right now, Anne Lawrence is with me. And welcome, Anne, to an episode of Women Are So Fucking Cool.
And thank you, Joanne, because I am honored and to I'm really thrilled to be here with you
Oh, yeah,
and
it's
to
a
have
lot
an
of fun.
and really to have an opportunity
Uh-huh.
to dialogue, both monologue and dialogue, about so what is this thing called a fucking cool woman? And in preparing to be with you today, I really have looked. And so much of I think what I'm interested in is really not only, who women are domestically, but really who women are globally. And what are the qualities and what are the traits that have us then say a woman is a fucking cool woman?
Yeah.
And I think, that, and Joanne, as you and I have talked about, leaving a message for future generations to come. And for me, a fucking cool woman, it can be somebody who's beautiful. It can be somebody who's brilliant. It could be a Michelle Obama. I think she's a really fucking cool woman.
Yeah.
And who she is as a role model. Um, but I think maybe, or and at the heart of it, the women that I think of who were really fucking cool, they care. They give a shit, not only about their own self-interest. They care about their communities, they care about their families, they care about other women. They think beyond the confines of their own immediate needs. They have an eye and an ear for what will make a difference in the bigger picture for all beings that happen to occupy this physical form that we call female or women. And there's a lot of different iterations and expressions in it. So that's kind of off the top of my head. Those are some of the qualities. And it's how we feel about ourselves. That the women that I know that are fucking cool women, they have every self-doubt, every insecurity, everything that's part of being a human being, and they don't let it stop them. They acknowledge it, they let themselves be vulnerable. some of the coolest women that I know are the ones that are willing to show that other side that they think is in a safe side to show. There's a courage that comes with being a fucking cool woman and being willing to let other women know that they're not alone, that
Yeah.
we're all in this together. And it doesn't matter our race, our color, country of origin, it doesn't matter. And it's easy to get stuck in what are the differences between us versus, well, what are the similarities? What are the things that we all share? And then how do we support each other?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, thanks for just jumping right in and just sharing what definition is, because we were talking before we started recording, and we were talking about, what this podcast is going to be about and what you were going to say. And I love how when you were sharing, one of the things that you started talking about, and so many of us talk about it, is how there's so many differences, and we are also here to support each other. We're here, we're not alone. And women to have courage to share, be vulnerable with each other. And I think that is one of the reasons that I'm really inspired by this podcast. And when I talk to, and when I meet in general, is because there's so much chaos going on. But if women, fucking cool women, recognize and really utilize their mass qualities that are everywhere, like everything you said, right? And come together and use that power to really, do what we need to do. I don't even know. I don't have a question. You blew me away what you said. So I'm just going to say that.
Okay. And one of the things that I wanted to share, because this was again, for everybody to know, I mean, I have watched and listened to before I became a guest on this, to other women. And
Yeah.
the Joanne interviews, it really are extraordinary.
Right.
I mean, my preparation for being with Joanne was listening and being inspired and moved and touched by the voices and experiences of other women who I've never met. And I think that's part of the magnificence and my own commitment to have this really go global. Women need to hear this, men need to hear this. So it's not just that women need to hear it. And one of the things that I thought about, and it was in one of the interviews Joanne did with somebody, it's like, when did you realize you were a fucking cool woman? And I thought about so I'm named after my maternal grandmother. So her name was Anna, and she transitioned before I was born. And so I was probably in nursery school or kindergarten. And I knew that I was named for my grandmother. And somewhere in the innocence of my 4-year-old or 5-year-old mind, I said, I really need to love my mommy as much as the magical thinking of a 4-year-old. I need to love my mommy as much as I can for all the time that I have her. Because I understood that her mother transitioned when my mom was young. And I did the math. My mother was like 31 and she didn't have a mom anymore. And I said, all there is to do in our lifetimes is be good and not like a good little girl, but be good and kind and love the people in our lives as much as we can while we have them. And to me, that's like a fucking cool little girl who became a fucking cool woman. But that was the foundation of it. So it's, my own development and expression as a woman has, certainly has morphed and changed, and I've grown and developed through many years and many experiences. But it's something that I think that we all are imbued with is that inner knowing of how to be in life. And it's not that I necessarily had role models. My parents would say, be nice to everybody, play nice with the other children. But somewhere on a very spiritual, intuitive level, I just got that I had a choice, even at 4. Like I could play nice with the other children, even if they didn't play nicely with me. That's how do you navigate all of that? So I wanted to share that. I hadn't thought of it until being with you, Joanne, about my 4-year-old awakening about love everybody as much as you can. Like love leads the way.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. And I think I'm going to ask that question again. That was just a spur of the moment question, but I think I'm going to add it. And then I started realizing too, I haven't really had the conversation with anybody about what really kind of inspired. Well, I guess I have the FCW Society and my own definition of FCW. And
Mm,
it really does come back from that place that you were talking about. Because it is a spiritual, not that everybody identifies as a spiritual person, but that intuitiveness. And when you wanted to be good, not that good little girl, but you wanted to be that good and kind. And I think that for me was also because there's this element of like, oh, the cool kids, but they weren't very kind. A lot of, popular, sometimes the mean girls who might be think they're cool, but they're not very kind people. And I want to be a kind person. And I think that's where that the being a fucking cool, brought that fucking nice. But and then there's power in also saying, I'm I'm empowering myself that I have the rights to be whatever I want to be. I have full blown choice over whatever I need to do. And I'm a nice girl, but don't take advantage of me,
right.
and go
And I
ahead.
think that's where, well, and I think it's also where, again, in thinking about, being together, that fun, I mean, it goes back to like the Mean Girls. And I managed in junior high school and high school. One of the things that I said, and this is when I think I was in eighth grade, walking down the hallway to my history class. And I said, so I was about 13 or 14. And I said, um, I'm never going to make it because I'm the cutest girl in the class, cutest, most popular, but I figured out at 13 that, like a winning strategy was about being great with people. Like it was just never going to be, that I was going to be the one that all the boys picked, like kind of the nature of all of that socialization in middle school or junior high school. And I just determined, you know, and then lived into that. Like
Uh-huh.
I could really be great with people. And I love Kira, who's another one of the women that has been interviewed, talked about the psychological studies about kids that are popular. It's not the mean girls. It
Uh-uh.
is the ones that are really great with people and care and are champions and cheerleaders. And I think growing up, and in the environment and competition and just all of the socialization, the choice that I made, I always had women friends and I mean, I still have friends from kindergarten that are women and men. And the choices that I made, though, I was very particular about who the women were that I hung out with. And I was in corporate, I mean, at certain points in time, but I was definitely more of a man's woman. It was safer territory for me to have
Uh-huh.
male friends than women friends because my experience a lot of times was just a competition of women and how women play dirty. And it goes back to, being in junior high, like all that, the history. And when I was 50, I did a course that was a women's weekend. And that really was the breakthrough point for me at 50.
Uh-huh.
And I had tons of friends, but it was being in a community of women. And one of the messages was find women who love you. Find women who are living their lives and fulfilling upon their dreams, their visions, their purposes in a way that resonates for you. Either model them, befriend them, and you also be that way for other women. And it shifted. It really had me appreciate, and this goes back to fucking cool women. It had me fall in love with myself. Because certainly what I realized, if I was rejecting other women as dangerous or superficial or whatever word I was going to use about them, somebody could be saying that about me. It wasn't a one-way street. So, and I
Very
haven't really
wise.
thought, right, I haven't really thought of it that way before. But, when that happened, and then started to look back, all of the communities that I'm in, the coursework I do, all of the deliverables that I have so many communities of international women. And I have my men friends, but it really was a pivot. And like, who did I go to for advice? Who did I go to for comfort? I went to my fucking cool women.
Yeah, of course.
And I
Oh yeah.
built communities, I have led and built my own communities of women. And it was a big deal for me because I tend to be more like a Buddha up on a mountaintop, by myself. And I'm fine being, Joanne and I talk about this. By the way, everybody who's watching and listening, Joanne and I talk about this. We're actually able to play by ourselves with our toys, whatever those toys may
Yes.
as
Yes.
adults, right? But we can play with our dollies by ourselves or our trucks
Uh-huh.
or our sandboxes or whatever it is. So it takes something for me to push, it's like to throw myself in environments. And then when I do, I'm always delighted and it's fun and I have lots of friends and I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
And I
That's
hadn't really thought about any of this, Joanne, until you invited me to come and hang out and
That's the beauty of this. When FCWs get together, we have some great thoughts and inspiration. So this leads to my the next part I want to talk to you. I want you to share um what are share some stories or some women that you're inspired by or some of your fucking Coleman friends. Because what I really admire about the fucking Coleman in my life, we don't gossip about women we don't like. We don't waste our time, and so it's just let's talk about what we do like. And there's so many of us, so many that we could talk about. So, yeah, share with us some women in your life, or even a woman that you're inspired by.
So I've already said I look at Michelle Obama, and she just amazes me, and especially in the position of power as a
Yeah.
woman that she was in, and Barack didn't get there by on his own, and her
Uh-uh.
capacity to be the woman behind the man, but never behind.
Yeah.
She was my experience of her presence, and then that she led the way and the stand that she took, and how she used the privilege and the opportunity of being in the White House. The other woman, and this was again upon reflection, was my mom. Now, my mom, and this is one of the things when I say my mom was really fucking cool. My mother went to summer camp and she was the oldest of four, and she didn't get to go to summer camp until her youngest brother, who I think was 8 or 10 years younger than she was at the age where he could be what they called midgies, where he could be like in, bunk five or something. And I think she went and she was a counselor in training. And there was a guy at summer camp with auburn hair and kind of a sexy hottie. And that was my dad. And he was the arts and crafts teacher because my father was a professional artist. And my mom had a crush on Willie Barrow. So this is in, I don't know, 1930 something. And she said, Willie Barrow, someday I'm going to marry you. And Willie Barrow looked at her and rolled his eyes and said, you got to be out of your mind. So I don't know what the years were. They went to different schools socioeconomically, they grew up differently. My father was first generation American. My mother was much more kind of middle class assimilated. And somehow my mom had this vision about marrying Willie Barrow. And her family said, are you out of your mind? You're going to marry an artist? Do you want to starve? Like, really, what are you thinking? And my mom saw his gift, his spirit, his heart, his soul. And she threw her hat in the ring and over the wall. And I really hadn't thought about it until now. My mom, at the heart of it, was really an entrepreneur. She managed, not only did she raise us and do everything, as a mom, and this is with kids in the 40s and 50s. And so not only is that kind of mom, she ran my father's business. So my dad was very much an artist and the heart and soul and spirit. And again, growing up in the Depression, being first generation American, and my mom ran the business. She did all the financial investing. She was involved in all of it. But when I look at who my mom was, she was a philanthropist and she was very involved in community organizations. And fast forward, when she was 92 years old, my husband and I moved her from Philadelphia to come live with us. And I took care of my mom from the time she was 92 till a few months shy of her 96th birthday. And every morning we would go into the bathroom and pick out her clothes. I'd pick things, or I'd have her look in her drawers, and we would get her clothing organized. She never would leave the house without her lipstick. It was always one of her things. A fucking cool woman never leaves the house without chapstick or lipstick. And when I think about what she was like at 95, and my mom and I as women were very, very, very different. And I'd say 99% of the time she would roll her eyes and she would look at me and see where it was like, where did I get you? Where did I find you? So it wasn't that I had this mom who said, you're the most fucking cold daughter on the planet. My mom grew up in the model. It's like, if I don't tell you the truth, then who will? There's like the standard joke. If you go to the ladies' room and you leave toilet paper on your shoe, your good friends will tell you you're trailing toilet paper around
Yes.
with you. A stranger won't. So my mom was really amazing, but not in the status ways of amazement. And this is what Joanne and I were talking about, as women who are activists. Maybe a key aspect of activism is every single day, in every interaction, in all the choices that we make. And my mom to me was really the demonstration of that. And she was kind and loving. She had an unbelievably outrageous sense of humor that was kind of dry. And my dad, and this is where my mom to me was really amazing. My dad, as an artist and the man he was, my dad really got center stage 99% of the time. And that my mom wasn't disempowered by that.
Yeah.
Somehow, she knew the value. And I think that we as kids, if he didn't always acknowledge and appreciate her, my older brothers and I, and then as our family expanded, everybody showered her with love. So that again, she would know the fucking cool woman she was, even at 95 and a half.
That's great.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought of, Joanne, I hadn't thought about my mom in this context before being with you in this conversation.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. And plus, it just, you talk to think about these women in different eras. They had different things to
Totally.
overcome. And for her to be, you know, the the financial lead in the family was pretty impressive. And she was one of the women that helps that to move forward, that women do know how to be financial planners. And it's,
She,
yeah.
she really was amazing. One of the other things too that I wanted and this was again from some of the other conversations you've had. So I have two older brothers. And again, from probably, and I think I was always this way, not just when I, did my epiphany moment when I was 50 and my women's transformational weekend. Um, my oldest brother is almost 10 years older than I am. And I was just visiting my family. And my oldest sister-in-law has known me since I was 10. My other sister-in-law and I, our birthdays are 6 days apart, and we've known each other since we were 18 years old. So even though, unlike you with your two fucking cool older sisters, I've inherited amazing older sisters vis-a-vis my brothers making great choices because my sister-in-laws are really amazing and they are like sisters. And I think when we grow up, and plenty of women have sisters, biological sisters, and they still need, for whatever the dynamics have been in their family, to go out and find other sisters. And that's part of what I love about FCW is that we are creating the sisterhood, the sisters that we either had or didn't, but that we get to create those as part of the fabric of our lives.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to my brothers for choosing well.
Well, obviously they had a fucking cool mother they knew what an FCW looked like. So when they were out there trying to find a woman, they gravitated to a woman like their mother, an FCW.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really great. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. And I mean, yeah, women sisterhood, it's a powerful thing. There is nothing like it. And yeah, I'm really grateful to that. Yeah, women have played an important part of my life. Um, So, and then just really, again, I'd love to just bring up this, the values or our mission for F fucking Cool Society, about respect, encourage, and celebrate. I really believe that those three words are words that I live by as much as I can. And I like hearing how you use this in your everyday life or what those words mean to you, kind of in your interpretation. Go for it.
So I was in human resources for years. And so again, to me, part of being a fucking cool woman is not only how we are with women, it is really how we are with all people. And respect, encouragement, dignity. It doesn't matter, and I was a hiring manager. Didn't matter if I was hiring somebody high up in the hierarchy of and I was in healthcare in the organization, or if I was hiring people who other people looked at as lesser than, treating everybody with dignity, with honor, respect for the contribution. The person that is cleaning the toilets is no better or worse than the person that's running the show. There's so much hierarchy. And again, so when we were talking about activism and ideology, there's a gift everybody has. And it starts with I used to work with little people. So like little people. So like newborn little babies and, all through up and, to 20 years on them with adults. And how do we be with everybody that way? With dignity, with honor, with respect, with letting everybody know the value that they bring to the world. And again, thinking about being together, part of, that my sign behind me is age is merely the number of years the world has been enjoying you. And as women in a very ageist, discriminatory culture in this country, and it's not just here, so it's not unique to, the American society. And for women as we mature, encouraging other women, like go, I just was a contributing author in a book. I've wanted to be an author for 25 years. I finally was invited by another woman to be a contributing author in an anthology to inspire, ignite, impassion other women. And the women who were the authors, some are in their 20s and 30s. It goes all the way up into, 70s and 80s. And, it's a lot of my messaging is to be, for women to know, age is really the million number of years we've been hanging around. That's it. But, not a but, and for women who are my contemporaries, and this is also the message for generations to come. We have extraordinary value. And everybody goes, well, we have wisdom. Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we all do, maybe we don't. Some of us have more, some of us less. I don't even know that it matters. It's more that at any given point in time, we have gifts. There's a masterpiece in every single one of us, and not to give up, to stay curious, to be engaged in life, to find those things you love. And one of the things that I found with quote unquote mature women is the joy that they get with their grandchildren. If you don't have grandchildren, go hang out with 6-year-olds. I was just with my 3-year-old and 7-year-old niece and nephew. They light my heart. It just there's a light in being with them, the curiosity. Everything's new, everything's fresh. And how do we maintain that in a world that can be cynical?
Yeah.
And it's a choice all the time. Age is merely the number of years the world's been enjoying us. How do we keep our light and that fire? And I'd say, given how I know Joanne, we either sometimes our little fire goes out and the other one goes and blows on the embers. And then all of a sudden it sparks up. And then other times we're flames dancing together.
Mm-hmm.
But our flame, our lights never have to go out. And I think that's where fucking cool women and having friends and connection, when there's only that little ember,
Yeah.
that's the time to pick up the phone. And figuratively, Joanne and I get on the phone and she breathes on my little ember that's flickering. And all of a sudden I hang up and we've never met each other.
That's
Not
right.
yet. We have not yet physically met each other, although I
No,
swear
that's
to God,
right.
I feel
That's
like we have.
right. Someday soon. Someday soon. We'll have coffee on my front porch.
And we'll
Uh,
go watch this. We'll go watch the Savannah Bananas.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I drove by the stadium the other day, but that's another conversation. Okay, so yeah, this has been great. I mean, it's so fascinating to hear what everybody says and how it's common. And I really do appreciate you referencing some of the other conversations because they are really, really, really fascinating. So thank you for being a fucking cool one.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome.
would love to close this episode out with some last thoughts from Anne Lawrence. What do you want to share? What's your final thoughts you want to say?
We live life. This is what I've discovered. We live life as if I had made different choices. We all think if I had made different choices, it would have turned out better. Never considering that if we made different choices, it could have turned out worse. So really all there is now. And be the fucking cool women that we are. Love ourselves, appreciate our gifts, learn from the past, be in the present, and create and live into a future that gets you out of bed in the morning and saying, I'm so grateful I'm so grateful that I got in bed at night and here I am, feet on the floor, and what do I want to create today? Where can I contribute? How can I have an impact? Where can I make a difference in for myself, for those around me, and really for the world at large? And for every one of us, it's different. I think that's a key quality of being a fucking cool woman. There's so many ways with our gifts and talents that we can contribute in the world. I think Marianne Williamson says, whatever that key line is, about we're great and who are we not to appreciate that. I'm bastardizing what that profound line is that she says. But who are we not to glow? And so glow on, sisters.